Did you know that you can get access to tens of thousands of German language materials online for free? I've been learning German for years, but this is new to me. If you are in a non-German speaking country, you can sign up with no charge via the Goethe-Institut. Onleihe is their digital library, and its name is a kind of pun, on loan online. Onleihe can be accessed on your laptop, but it can also be downloaded as an app if you prefer to read on your phone. I came across this because I was digging around trying to find out which literary titles were set for the forthcoming Goethe-Zertifikat C2 exam. I've passed the C1 level already, and you can check out my other video, if you like, about how I learned German that far. The Institute has practice materials online. But at C2 level each year for this exam, there are two choices of a book on which to write as part of the exam. And under further information, you can scroll down to find the Literaturliste, so the list of recommended books for the exam, both for this year and for next year. And I'll be talking about the first two here. Even though I'm not about to sit this year's exam, not quite ready, I like to get tips on what's possibly worth reading. It's just a way of getting very current recommendations and keeping a finger on the pulse, as well as what kind of comprehension level they expect for that exam, by seeing which books are set each year. So the first book I read via Onleihe was Wolf Haas's Junger Mann, a contemporary novel from an Austrian writer who more usually does krimis, and is in fact quite renowned and awarded for those, so detective fiction. Junger Mann, by contrast, is a more semi-autobiographical fiction that has been described as a coming-of-age story. It's set in the 1970s, so depending on your age, that will be either exotic in the far past or familiar in some ways, even if you didn't grow up in Austria. I found the book quite moving and also frequently ironic and funny. What I especially liked about using Onleihe to read it as an ebook was being able to highlight new words and add them to Anki online. I use the utterly minimal version, not the app, so it's not much different from actually making handwritten lists for myself, which I do too. Not so much lists of individual words though, but contextual sentences. Regarding the book, a trigger warning though, it does systematically follow a boy's focus on losing weight and might be a tricky book for anyone with a tendency toward eating disorder issues, and you could guess this, in fact, from the striking quasi trompe-l'œil cover. I also read a few chapters of the other Goethe-Zertifikat recommended novel, which is Daniele Green, Die Liebe im Ernstfall, which has the distinctive feature of telling the stories of 5 different women, so in 5 sections of the book. That one's still in progress for me, so no comments or spoilers possible at this stage. The next book I started reading through Onleihe, and am still deciding whether to finish, is nothing to do with the Goethe exams, but is often mentioned as a German literary classic. Theodor Fontane's Effi Briest. Please tell me if you've read it, whether in German or in another language. Published in 1895, its German is therefore a little more complex for me than that of a contemporary novel. But I was making good progress with it until roughly 50 pages in, when it took a bit of an apparently racist turn. Just the feeling of that coming on. Sometimes, of course, a writer is trying to show you something about a character when they have them say things of this sort, but I still find it very off-putting, especially when there are so many books out there to read. Tell me what you think about Fontane and Effi Briest. Should I continue with it? Should I finish the book? Have you ever put aside a novel when something like that, some element that you find off-putting, has kind of deterred you from going on, made you feel a bit repelled? This story was also made into a film at least once, and the film I'm thinking of is the one by Rainer Werner Fassbinder. I haven't seen it, but I would like to. Maybe you've seen that film and can tell me all about it. Please do in the comments. Which brings me back to Onleihe, actually, to add that it's not just novels. You also have magazines and quite a bit of video content. And this is just one example of a title where there are numerous issues. And you can go in and see that looks very interesting. It looks like a Paula Modersohn Becker, a terrific painter who was also a friend of Rilke. This is just a tiny selection of some of the video material, and I hope that all of this will inspire you to check out Onleihe and see if there's anything there to catch your interest.